It says it's preparing. Oh, the person is... Okay, redirecting to Facebook Live. I do have earbuds if I need them, but last time I didn't have them on. Okay, we're on.
We're on. Oh yeah, I just heard my phone ring.
On.
Oh my gosh, I need to turn my phone off though. Where's my phone? Hi everyone.
Hello.
We're ready. How's everyone?
There's Amy, so I know we're on for sure. Okay.
Where's my phone? There it is. I found it. It was under my laptop. How's everyone doing? It is September, and we are here to do our Mr. I'm having a freak out because I don't know who is about to come on here. And it's a little nerve-wracking, honestly. I have some Band-Aids on my face because I had some stuff removed from my skin.
The comments are already coming in.
I know, I'm having like a nervous breakdown. Get it over with already.
Okay, so I'm Megan, in case you all don't know, one of the admins for the group, and we are here for our second mystery author chat where we're going to surprise Victoria again.
Whose idea was this?
It's already 6:02. Should I let...
Yeah, bring him in. Let's do it. Hi, person.
Joining.
Erin Mallon. Hi. How are you?
Hi.
Can you hear us?
Hello, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. I hear you more than you even know.
I was just watching you on Facebook and you were saying you're nervous. And I'm like, well, I'm a little nervous because what if she's not happy to see me?
I am so happy to see you. How are you feeling?
I feel great. How about you?
I'm good. When is your baby due?
Oh, I had him July 31st.
No.
Yeah, he's 6 weeks old.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
How's
He was
that
due
going?
He came a little bit early, not too early. Just yeah. What's shaking?
Not much. Just, you know, I'm trying so hard to finish that damn book. I'm writing the book that will never end right now.
Well, you're writing like a 14-book series, aren't you?
15, yeah.
Yeah, so just one book at a time.
I just so that whole series stalled because surprise, I had breast cancer.
Right.
Nowhere. And so yeah, so I had to stop what I was doing and get, you know, cancer dealt with.
Yeah.
But then so I'm like trying to get back in the swing of things, and it's just hard to kind of plug back in. And, you know,
do you find that, well, I mean, I find that must be intense in a million ways, but just speaking about writing, starting this story and these characters, and then going through something so intense, you're kind of a different person when you come back in a way.
It kind of helped that series because that book with Grant and Rio was so emotional.
Yeah.
So emotional, and her losing her husband, and that story just, I literally came home from the doctor finding out that I had a lump in my breast and then finding out it was cancer, and then had to write that, you know, story where she lost her husband. But it was good because I was just bawling and pouring it all into that whole story. So it worked out. You know, I just had this opportunity to just pour all of that into the story. So it's like hard not to get emotional even now still. So
I'm sure.
Yeah. So
yeah. But I mean, like that's great writing, right? When you take what's actually happening in the world and in yourself and fictionalize it and play with it and say something real.
Right. Because it's not, it doesn't always, you know, end up that way.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to dig, and where am I going to get this inspiration from? And that's kind of how it started. And I had these amazing readers that I said, I put out onto this reader group, and I said, I really need help. You know, you guys can you help me? And this is like a big ask. Has anybody lost a husband ever?
Oh, wow.
And you want to share this information with me? And I had like 5 or 6 women inbox me, and they were so gracious and gave me their story, you know, told me about the emotion behind it. And I mean, I really dug into their brain, you know, and they really poured it out there, because thank God I've been married 26 years and he's in the other room still. So, you know, I didn't have to feel that pain. So, yeah.
Okay, so
like,
before we start,
we started, you're done.
I know. Before we continue, Kelly had a great question. Are y'all going to introduce the special guest for those who don't know? So maybe Erin would like to do a little introduction.
Oh, you want to do yourself there, Erin, or?
Sure. Hi, my name's Erin Mallon, and my connection with this lovely lady is I've narrated several of her books, co-narrated with Jacob Morgan. I think we've done 4 so far.
Yes.
Yeah. In the Shark's Edge series, and it's been awesome. And I also put out my own first book this year, a romantic comedy called Flirtosaurus. And I've been a playwright for about 10 years. So I've written for a long time for the theater, and now I'm starting to write my own novels and narrating my buns off for amazing writers like this lady. So I'm happy to be here chatting with you.
Yay! And that, If These Walls Could Talk, I enjoyed that one too.
Oh, you listened to it? Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I'd like to get, you know, a version of everything. I listen to all kinds of stuff.
Are you mostly a listener?
I am an exclusive listener at this point.
Oh, wow.
It's all I do, because I have a day job still.
Yeah.
So my husband and I own a manufacturing business. And so I work all day and then I come home at night and write. Wow. We also have a severely disabled child. So that is also like a third job. She's 20, she'll be 24 in October. And so, yeah, she's a full-time job, you know, fully dependent on, you know, our care. I have 2 nurses that have been with us since I was pregnant with my son, and he's 19. So they've been with us a long time. They're part of our family. So they take care of her during the day, and then at night, you know, it's just me and my husband taking care of her. And then, so that's when I write usually, but
wow,
I don't sleep a lot.
Are you someone that does like a word count type thing, or do you write what you feel like writing when you feel like it?
I write what I can. Usually it's because it just kind of hits me at different times. Sometimes I have it in me, and sometimes it's just not there, and I cannot force it. I just cannot. I cannot.
You know, for me, coming from theater, I never dealt with word counts before because plays tend to be 2-ish hours. And so it's not about writing fast for them. It's about writing what really needs to be said, and creating, it's literature. Like, you want to be able to pick it up and read it, but it's meant to be seen and it's meant to be played by real breathing people.
Right.
So you have to give it breath and time. So I'm used to that approach. And then I've been watching people like you for years. Like, how are they writing so damn fast? It's amazing to me.
Right.
Some
people have a gift that they can just bust it out way faster than others, you know, so it just depends.
And I don't think that, like, I think sometimes people think the faster you go, sometimes, like, you know, you like old school literature, you hear the stories like, oh, he slaved away for 5 years on this book. And that's supposed to be like high art.
Right.
But I think something can be written very fast and be beautiful. And something can take 10 years and maybe it should have taken you a month.
Right.
So I don't think it's indicative of quality, how fast.
Right. And I have like, people say, well, how long does it take to write a book? I can't really say that, because we've written one in 6 weeks, and I've written one in now, this is the worst ever, but I have a good excuse, you know, taking over a year. So
yeah, they all need something different. Just like kids all need something different, right?
Yeah.
You treat them all the same and they rebel. So
you try to stuff them in that box.
Yeah.
But they won't do it. So what do you think? I mean, where does your heart lie now? What do you love the most? Or you have a little bit of everything?
Yeah. it's kind of like, I can't imagine my life without either of them. It's funny because I think right now people that know me as a narrator are looking at me as a new writer.
Right.
And I've been writing for so long,
Right.
just not in this world.
Right.
So for me, it doesn't feel like anything's changed much. It's just bringing my writing to like a different form and to people that already know me.
To new audience. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't feel a need to choose, and narration is my job. So, and thank goodness I love it. So I won't be stopping that anytime soon. It just feels nice to be able to do both, and it gives me so much respect for your side, which I always had, but it's different now because I really understand the layer upon layers that you have to do to get a book out into the world. Now I understand it in a different way.
Right. It's pretty neat for you to have not every, but because there's still editing and there's so many other pieces to it still. Yeah. But even to get a couple, glimpses of what it takes to get a book. There's so many hands in that pot, before the finished product gets to the consumer. It's really crazy.
It teaches me too, first of all, what a gift it is when someone asks me to narrate their book, and what trust that takes when you've spent so much time and you have such hopes for this character and you feel this character. To hand it off to someone else to interpret is a big deal. So, I mean, I think most of us don't take that lightly ever, but it's added another layer of that to me.
There is nothing now for me as such an avid listener that getting the finished product back, recorded and listening to it the first time. It's like the rebirth. It's like giving birth and then they hand you your baby and you're like, oh my gosh, it's here, because just hearing it and you're like, oh, it's everything I hoped it would be. It's the best.
That's good when that happens, right?
I've had some that are not you guys at all, but yeah, they're, and you're like, oh God, no, somebody redo this. But,
right.
It happens.
I hear from some authors, and sometimes it's the performance that's not what you expected, or it's not up to your standards.
Right.
But then other times I hear from a lot of authors, they feel really shy hearing someone perform their scenes. It makes them feel like they want to hide. And then they apologize to us sometimes. They're like, I'm sorry I made you say this stuff. I'm like, listen, we're used to it. I think you're more shy.
I've heard like some really like crazy stuff. And so I'm like, I know what I've written is not anywhere near that. So like, there's
some stuff out there. Yeah.
There's some crazy stuff out there. But
for sure.
I remember the first thing I ever heard you read was Finding Alexi.
Finding Alexi.
Is that Kendall Ryan maybe?
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. Because someone said you have to hear this narrator. She does a better man than men. I was like, okay, I have to hear this. And no shit, I was like, oh my God, what's happening right now?
What are these feelings I'm having?
Why am I so turned on? And then it was done for me there.
Oh, well, funny story. There a couple years ago, a friend, well, she's now a friend. At the time, I didn't know her that well. She had a podcast about audiobooks, and she said some lovely stuff about me. And she said, I would listen to her narrate the ingredients of a ketchup bottle. And I was like, that's nice. And I had ketchup in the refrigerator.
So you got it out. Yeah.
I was like, this will take me 5 minutes. So I narrated the ketchup bottle for her and sent it to her. And so it was up on my SoundCloud, and I put it on my Facebook page as a joke. My mom has not listened to anything that I've narrated. She doesn't understand audiobooks. She actually said to me the other day, now, if I buy this audiobook, when I go back to it later, will it still be there, or do I have to listen to it all at once? I'm like, Mom, it's yours. You have it. But anyway, she listened to the ketchup thing. Yeah, she listened to the ketchup thing, and she was like, I thought it was so great. You sounded wonderful, but your father and I want to know, who was the man that came in halfway through? I was like, that was me, Mom.
Still me. Yeah. And then I saw a video of you narrating.
Yeah.
I don't know where it was. And it was the way you were doing it. And I was just mesmerized by your whole demeanor changes. I mean, you must know that you've seen yourself do it, right? So
yeah,
the whole way and I was like, this is fucking fascinating. I cannot stop watching this.
well,
For me, it's amazing.
it is. I mean, it's such
Having
a
an earthquake.
cool job. And I come from theater, so before I was writing plays, I was in plays constantly. So usually you see those transformations and you do physical things to your face, to your body. It all happens and people see it, but in this, you don't. All you have is your voice. But those physicalizations and shifts create changes in your body and your breath and your sound. Yeah. So you do have a lot of fun in there that people don't see, but hopefully it comes out through the earbuds.
Right.
But the videos
can be fun. Jacob had sent me a video of him narrating, and it was about 11 minutes long. And I could not post all of that on the page. I had to really cut it down. And it was such a bummer to have to cut it down. Because if the fans here had seen all of it, it was just so fun to watch him do it all, and just the different changes. And then when he does Rio's voice, what happens to him when he does a female voice, it's really neat. Really neat.
I would like to watch. I've worked with him many times and we've met and we've been on panels and stuff together, but I don't know that I've watched him do a female voice. I've heard the way he does it. But I can't picture it. Maybe I'll have him send me a video.
Yeah.
Jealous.
It was really neat. He gets in his eyes. He does his eyes like you would picture a girl doing, batting her eyelashes, and it was really neat.
Well, and what's great, I mean, there's a lot of things that are great about him and many male narrators, but when they can do a female voice well, it's like, it's the same thing for us. We do have to make a shift in tone, but you never want to be playing at it because no one's going to fully believe you're a dude or fully believe he's a woman.
Right.
But you got to give enough and you got to play them like you mean them, because everyone can tell if you're, not that you'd make fun, but if you're playing like a version of what a woman is, a version of what a man is, people know that's not real.
Right.
So he's very good at that, at playing with honesty. Yeah.
It's a good. I could just do this forever. It's such a fun part of I don't watch TV at all. I couldn't even tell you the last time I saw a movie, but audiobooks, that's where it's at for me.
That's cool. I love working with authors that are super into audio. It makes it even more fun for us.
I don't know. I'm trying to think when I made the full shift over to audio. It was getting so hard to read, and being a good author is being a good reader. And I was losing that part of writing, was reading. And I was having such a hard time fitting it in. And so I started listening and I thought, wow, I can do this while I'm emptying the dishwasher and still getting, the nightly chores done and doing whatever. And the commute, we're in Southern California, so the drive it's all the time, you're always in the car. And so I was able to still listen in the car and so I'm very happy.
This funny thing that I used to live in Manhattan, in Brooklyn. And so I was on the subway constantly. And that's where I would prep the books that I was narrating. So I'd always have my iPad and I'd be reading and I knew I'd get to the booth with it the next day. And then I moved to a suburb right outside of the city where now I drive and I'm not on the subway. And it's a little harder to get my reading in for prep. And I'll have this, it still happens, where I have this ridiculous idea. I'm like, oh, I wish there was an audio version of this so I could prep. I'm like, you're about to make the audio version. So there is none. So I have to.
Do you read the whole book first?
Yeah.
You do backwards. You read the whole thing and then you would have to kind of know what's coming.
Yeah, because if you don't, you can get yourself in a pretty bad situation. There could be something on like page 180 where they talk about her sexy Southern accent with her slight lisp. And you're like,
whoops, missed that. Yeah.
Nothing Southern, nothing lispy. Not that anyone would write a main character lisping the whole time, but so you can get yourself into some situations. But a lot of times authors will provide you with a lot of character thoughts up front, which are helpful, and requests.
Oh, and the 3-line form they let you fill out?
Oh,
Like,
right,
it's
because
just
I know the
awful
company.
because
Oh, wait.
there's not enough and there's nothing to go on. And you're like, that's just not enough to go on, but that's what we get. And the form, I mean, for the people that are watching this right now, we get a form as the authors, we get this form and it has very little information on it that we get to provide the narrators about the character, maybe where they're from. Yeah, where they're from, I think is on there. And then, do they have an accent? And then what? And then I think it has like, is there anything else you want them to know? And that's it.
Like, you know what's interesting about that company though that you're talking about? Yeah. That is true what you're saying. And then they have someone there that does all this comprehensive work, and we get this huge, it depends on how long the book is, but like 5 or 6 page PDF chapter by chapter giving us a synopsis of each chapter. So that's a company that gives us a lot more information.
So someone else is doing that. Someone else is going through
that.
It. Why don't they just let the author do that?
I mean,
wouldn't that be the person?
Yeah, I mean, you could, but that seems like a lot of work when you've already written the book.
Yeah, but it seems like that would be the person that would be best suited to do that.
I would think so.
I don't know.
Maybe they do it because they're like a real team-based company. Maybe they want everyone that's producing the project to really get inside it and understand it.
And they might, maybe they know something that I don't know that you need to know. Like, in a way, you know what I mean? They're like drilling down to something that you need, that I want to tell you all about Rio because I think she's amazing and you need to know. And you know what I mean? And
yeah,
they're like, no, listen, the girl's got problems. She's starting fires and oh my God, and so
that's true. Yeah. We're looking for, as actors, we're looking for things. It sounds obvious, but like that we can act upon. Right. So things that we can dive into and make choices around, choices that are based on what you've laid out there. And sometimes authors and playwrights, they know the result that they want. They want this to be full of emotion. They want it to make the reader cry. They would love if the narrator cried, or, but if you say that to me, there's not much I can do with it. I have to find that myself.
Right.
So, yeah.
Do you cry when you read ever?
I mean, it happens. It's never the goal because I don't think listeners want to hear you sniffling and snotting into their ears. Right. But they do, I think, want genuine emotion. So if it moves me to that and it happens naturally, great, but I never try for that to happen. But there's been times, I remember this one particular book there was so much, I had to say goodbye to my child on life support and I lost my damn mind. Like I couldn't take it. And so I was trying to be honest throughout the scene and let it be colored with that emotion, because clearly that's what she would be feeling. But I think the journey of an audiobook is for the listener. It's not for the narrator. The narrator is telling the story and needs to embody it, but it's not for me to be over here blubbering. It's for you. I want to give you enough that you have a full experience. So I gave myself breaks. I'm like, I'm too far gone right now. I need to breathe, drink water, come back.
Hearing that, yeah.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. We'd go all night, Megan. Do you have anything you want to talk about?
Jump in.
I've been writing questions down, but I did want to mention that we talked a little bit about before that those who ask questions will be entered into a giveaway. And Erin has kindly agreed to give away, I think, 2 ebook files, right?
I was going to do audiobook files.
Audiobook files, even better.
Yeah,
so I was going to have those 2, and then Victoria, I'm sure you want to do some of your books too. So
yeah, and I definitely.
So Erin, what was the first book you narrated?
I'm always shy about this because you guys have better things to do than do this, but I'm always like, oh, people are going to go back and listen and like hear how different I was back then, but that's okay. Very first book I did was in 2010. And it was called 3 Black Swans. It's a young adult book. And if I'm remembering it correctly, I played a young girl who I think she was adopted, and then she finds out that she's a triplet, and then she searches out the other two girls. It was a great story, but I was really nervous because it was my very first book, and I'd been acting forever, but not in a 10-hour book. So I remember being pretty nervous, but it turned out okay. Yeah. I thought back then that I would do a lot of young adult, because I have somewhat of a younger voice, and I thought that would be my path. And then it went all romance, which I'm
And
not.
then they heard your man voice and they said, whoa.
Maybe.
Whoa.
It's funny.
Okay. How do you go about choosing a book to narrate? When you read it, do you put yourself into the character's shoes? I mean, you briefly touched on this while you guys were talking, but
It's not so much choosing. In the beginning, certainly you take whatever work comes to you because you're getting your feet wet and trying to build something. So you don't have that many choices in the beginning, and that's okay. But then as you go, you just build relationships. I work a lot with independent authors, which is one of my favorite things to do because you get to work with them directly. And I love that. So if I'm choosing, I love great writing. That's obvious, but I love romantic comedy. I love anything that is immediate interaction between human beings. And I find that romance is amazing at that. Victoria, what would you say your genre is that you write in?
Well, Shark's Edge is romantic suspense.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, because it has that whodunit thing going on there. And then the other series that I've written is just contemporary romance. That's Secrets of Stone. And then I've done some misadventures, they're called, with Waterhouse Press, and those are just they're also contemporary romance, but they're like quickies. They're real, they're meant to be like just quick blushes,
Yeah,
like beach reads type of thing, so
right. Well, I asked because
hot and steamy.
Yeah. Well, I find romantic comedy and romantic suspense are two of my favorite places to be because they just feel so immediate. The stakes are really high, even if it's farcical, or stakes are high because someone's gonna kill you.
Well, I was saying something to somebody, and my husband was hearing it, and I was going on about what's happening in this book and how it's going to end, where this book ends. Because of course everyone knows these are all cliffhangers. There's 15 of them, and each one is a cliffhanger till we get to the, as it wraps up. And my husband's like, he's getting like this look on his face. I'm like, it's fiction. Love it.
You'd think he'd be used to it by now.
But he's like twisting his face more and more the more I'm talking. I'm like, stop it.
Well, so Megan, for that question, when I'm choosing, if I don't have enough room in my schedule, I will try to make room for the romantic comedy and the romantic suspense because that's my favorite. And in terms of putting yourself into the character's shoes, you read the book, you try to get in everyone's mindset, but mostly for me, the heroine, and just take the ride that she's taking. Feel what she's feeling.
What's your favorite kind of heroine to read about or narrate or?
Well, I'll speak in terms of the romance genre. I love a heroine that has a lot more going on for her than just falling in love. Falling in love is epic and beautiful and wonderful and a huge part of romance. But I like seeing passionate people they're passionate people that find something passionate together.
Right.
So that's what I like. Characters that have a lot going on and they happen to be bouncing off another human being and falling in love.
Right.
Yeah.
I always say, like, people that are close in my life will hear me say things like, there's so many different forms of passion, even being angry is passion, it's just a different twist on it.
Yeah, it means not that we should all walk around being angry all the time, but
you feel strongly about something.
Something. Yeah, it beats being apathetic, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, Erin, do you know how many books you've narrated to date, and do you have a personal favorite?
I
Something I
can't
had to
say I have
ask
a
that way.
Everyone always asks you that, probably.
They do. I've narrated over 500 books. So,
Wow.
man, if I had a favorite, man, I don't know how to choose a favorite. I have authors that I adore that I will always jump at the chance to work with. But a favorite book, no.
They
Ideally,
have to blend together after a while. I mean,
some of
honestly.
them do.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. When you've narrated that much in one genre, when there are standouts, you hold on to those authors. You try anyway, because they're super special. But yeah, it's a little over 500 at this point. I'm not exactly sure because I have a pseudonym as well. And so I'm not exactly sure the exact number.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. Yeah. What's that face? Tell me what just happened to you?
That's the hot steamy face.
Oh, yeah. I'm open about my pseudonym. A lot of people aren't. So I always like to say, assume that people are not open about their pseudonym and do not out people.
Right.
I, however, am open about mine. It's Muffy Newtown, and see, she's like a separate entity. She tends to do the stuff that's darker. So there's like a lot of MC romances in there in her repertoire, and erotica, which I do a little less of these days.
M Never is the author.
Yeah.
Her
Yeah.
I don't know what series it was. Amy's typing feverishly right now. I can't see those comments, but she turned me on. I have a friend in here, and she's one of our admins. She turned me on to a series, and Jesus Christ, it was ridiculous.
It's probably Decadence After Dark, I bet, is what you're saying.
Yes. That was it. I was like, what is happening?
Those were intense.
I mean, he was like chasing her around the house, and I was like, oh my God, I've got to go to work. I can't do this right now. Like, I was listening to it while I was getting ready for work every morning, and I would message her, and I'm like, stop giving me books like this. It was crazy.
Those were particularly intense because sometimes, like for your series, for example, we're spreading it out. I'll do a book or two. Well, now more, but before.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get back to closer together.
Yeah.
It wasn't supposed to be that way.
Yeah, but even when you were putting them all out, I still would do a couple in between them. But with Decadence After Dark, I did all 5 of those in a row, and she's an incredible writer. It was intense for me. It was an intense time because every day I was going into the booth telling this story that was just wild.
It is. It's intense and it's wild, and
yeah. So I needed a rom-com after that, even though it was deliciously written and perfectly done. I definitely needed a brain shift after that.
Exhausting.
Yeah.
It was exhausting to listen to.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It was like,
tied up anymore.
Oh, yeah. I can't go to work now. I need to have sex and have a shower.
I know. Wow.
Jesus.
Okay, ready for another question?
Yeah.
Okay, Victoria, what is your favorite genre to write? And Erin, your favorite genre to narrate?
Well, I've only written in romance, so that's it for me so far. I think I think
there are different kinds of romance.
I like contemporary romance. It's like where I fit in. So I would not try like historical or something like that. I think romantic comedy would be fun. I think I'm funny. So I think I'm funny. It would be fun to try that.
We're very funny.
I would probably have to watch my audience probably because my brand of humor isn't always funny to everyone. But I love dark romance. I really like that. I don't know if I have the chops to write it though, but I like reading it or listening to it. So that would be good.
I feel like there's some darkness in your series.
We get a little
dark romance, but
yeah,
some stuff in there.
Yeah. So
yeah, I feel like
Kelly said, I think you're hilarious, Victoria Blue. So see,
I think I'm hilarious.
Okay.
And what was Erin was supposed to answer something
yeah.
there too?
Yeah, I kind of did though, right? Like romantic comedy and romantic suspense I really like. But then you can start whittling romance down to tropes and things like that.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I'm writing my second book now, like the follow-up to Flirtosaurus. There's going to be 3 interconnected standalones. And so I had some beta readers, sort of alpha readers the other day, reading it for me. And one of them said, it's definitely romantic comedy, but it's veering towards like a coming of age story. Oh, can it be a coming of age story and romantic comedy? And I think so.
Sure.
So it's interesting, inside all of these genres, you can just keep whittling it down.
And I think it can be anything you want. I don't think you have to be defined like so tightly that you have to stay in,
Right. As long as they're still laughing, I want them to have some feels too. I want we can talk about some, because that's life, right? You're crying and you're laughing in the span of 5 seconds.
Exactly.
That's real.
Yeah.
What's
your favorite trope?
Well, as a narrator, it's always fun to play enemies to lovers. That's fun.
Yeah.
And they're going to get together and they love each other, but it's really fun to go from like to how was that? That's really fun to play.
I like age gap. Can you tell? Sebastian at me. And what else? Who else was that age gap? I think somebody else I've written at some point. But as I get older, I'm getting more fond of that. What else? I like that, and Second Chance, I think. Yeah. I'm a big fan of Second Chance.
And a second chance, does that mean with each other? Or is it sometimes like you've loved and lost?
Yeah, I think second chance at love. For me, that's what it means, a second chance at love.
Not necessarily you're going back to an old love.
No. Gotcha. For me, that's, that's how I define it. So even that, when I'm saying you don't have to be put in a box, I think you get to define even that, for yourself, how you see it. So, yeah.
The world is open to us, ladies. We can do whatever the heck we want.
That's right.
Erin, what books do you like to read?
Just for pleasure, you mean?
Yes, just for pleasure.
It's interesting.
What is that like?
Yeah, there's not much time for that these days. That said, when I'm reading for pleasure these days, it's almost always nonfiction, because I'm writing, whether it's for theater or now for books, I'm writing fiction. My job all day is narrating fiction. At night, I'm prepping fiction, and it's great. But when I'm listening for pleasure, it's usually I want to be learning something because I'm getting all my stories. Like I'm getting tons and tons of awesome stories. Right. So, and it's usually audio. So if I'm driving around, and pre-pandemic days, if I'm dropping my kids at preschool and stuff, I'm listening to something. And so a lot of self-help stuff, which is funny. And in the past, I'd be like embarrassed about that, but I love it. Just people writing about making yourself better and getting to know yourself better, and how you walk through the world and how you use your brain and how you perceive things. I'm really interested in that. So that's where I tend to listen.
Amy has a request. She says, can Erin show us her male voice?
People ask me this. It's, give me something to say.
Yeah, you just turn it on like with a switch. You have to pick something up to read it, right?
Well, okay.
Good night, Moon.
Good night, Moon. Okay, well, let's just talk. Ask me a question, Victoria. This is going to be silly. This is going to be
my gosh. What did you have for dinner tonight?
It's hard. It's hard to do it.
I know, right? Turn it
on. My husband made us some chicken, and we had chicken and potatoes, and we had some red wine, and it was really good.
It's so funny. It's like, what happened? What just happened?
I could keep going, but it's silly. That's meant to be. It's meant to happen in my little booth where no one.
Yeah. Do you record in your own house?
Certainly now.
Yeah.
And usually like 75%.
Yeah.
I live close to Audible Studios, so sometimes.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so if it's a longer project, I'll go there if it's with them and have an engineer, because if it's a really long project, it's helpful to have an engineer. It just keeps things going. But the majority I do from home. Got my little studio.
Or if you're really sick of your kids.
Well, yeah, I mean, they know you're in there working.
Yeah.
So you get interrupted.
Yeah.
But if you actually leave the premises, then yeah. So
I remember my son used to stick his hands under the door when I was in the bathroom.
Oh man.
Like I couldn't even go to the bathroom. This little hand would go, and I was like, oh my God, just leave me alone. Now my cat does it. And I'm like,
oh my gosh.
God, why?
It's like a beautiful and horrible thing to be needed. It's beautiful and terrible.
All the time. All the time.
Well, Erin, your man voice got a bunch of fire emojis and holy shit and hubba hubba.
So chicken and potatoes.
Everyone loves it.
It was the red wine. That's where it went.
Oh, I'm so excited because for so long I was pregnant for 9 months, and now I'm like, great, there's sleep. I'm hanging with you. I'm having a drink.
Have some wine.
I know. Nice. I forgot it existed for so long.
Okay, this gets asked to Victoria every time, so we already know her answer. So, Erin, you're a writer too. What is your favorite drink or snack while you work? Because I assume when you're narrating, you can't really be snacking on anything.
Yeah, you can't be chomping on food in there.
But when you're writing, do you have a favorite drink or snack?
When I'm writing, it's usually coffee. I'm a morning writer as much as I possibly can, but it's decaf. Oh wow! I can't do caffeine. It makes me dependent on it, and then I need.
Wait, what?
I know, weird, right? My son is 5.5, and when I got pregnant with him, I cut it out, and then I realized that I wasn't getting those headaches the next day where I'd need to feed on the caffeine, even just 1 cup of coffee. So I just stayed off it and never went back on. But I love me some decaf hazelnut coffee with half and half.
Yeah.
That's my writing drink.
When Starbucks stopped having the hazelnut, I don't know what happened. I used to go there a lot, and then they stopped having that. And
oh, wow. I'm not much of a Starbucks girl, so I don't remember that they had it. I would have been all over that.
They had a sugar-free hazelnut. And it was delicious. And then I don't know why, maybe it wasn't very popular or something. I don't know, but I used to drink that all the time. But there was a Starbucks on the way to my office, and I would just pull in there, but I stopped coffee altogether at that point.
Oh, wow.
I don't drink it anymore at all. Coffee. I'm not saying caffeine, I'm saying coffee. Everyone's like, you're a liar. You're a liar, Victoria. Because they know those are just dirty lies, but I just mean coffee.
It's so wild that where you are right now, you still have daylight outside.
Yeah. Well, I'm in California, so.
No.
Yeah, but it's barely hanging on because it's 6:45. So.
Yeah. Oh, remember when I was in California?
We have fires real badly right now, so the air quality is terrible. And so in the morning it's really, really foggy. And I live like in a weird part of Southern California, it's like wilderness, so it's not what you expect. And so in the morning I'm in like a wooded area. It's real foggy, and it looks like the East Coast still, but then the beach is only like 10 miles away, so it's confusing. It's very confusing, but yeah, so it's the same thing right now. The day starts this way and ends this way just because of the fires. It's just clinging on to the pollution. But
what a time.
It's that time of year. It was very hot the past like 2 weeks, like 110. Jeez. But that's our late summer, and then right into fall. We'll go those kind of temperatures till October, like mid-October. But you miss it, Megan? Megan just moved away from me.
Oh,
Whatever.
I don't miss it yet. I'm
Whatever.
still getting used to, it's so green here. It's very beautiful in Jarrettsville, Maryland. So,
and not all like perfectly manicured like here. Like everything is so intentional. Like, you know, they landscaped every inch of everything. But there it's like, oh, it grew here.
Yeah.
Real. Like it naturally grew here. Seeds landed from birds and it grew there.
yeah.
What? What? Yeah, no, here everything is like 3 inches, 3 inches, 3 inches. 3 inches.
That's true. Okay, for Victoria, when can I start really promoting the next Grants book? And this is from Kelly.
I thought, is that Amy? Because as soon as we get it like officially done, then we'll get a release date from Waterhouse, and then, you know, all that stuff will go up. I can't really even address that, honestly. I'm sorry, Kelly. We'll know soon. Honestly, I'll know soon. I'm gonna finish, like, it will be to like the editor the end of the week, like this week. Tomorrow is Sunday. By Friday, it's gonna be in his hands, done. And then and I'm not joking, this is the last cancer situation that's happening in this body. Done, done, done. I'm not joking. Done. No more. That's enough for me in a year. I'm done. And so I'm just done. I can't even take anymore. And so, yeah, Friday should be in Scott's hands, and then we'll have some more like solid information on that date wise, but I can't say that. I wish I could.
You're so close.
So close. I'm in that scene, like you were saying, Erin, earlier, like with a play. I'm in this final scene, and it's like just getting all the people that need to be in the same place. It's just not, it's so unnatural. I don't like how this one person needs to be there and they weren't, and they need to be there and they weren't, and just like making up all this stuff to get everybody there. And you know what I mean? Just to close this off, I'm like, who came up with this idea? Oh, that was me. It was dumb. It was dumb, but it's too late to go back now because I wrote all of this to come here. And so I'm committed now. And I'm just like, I feel like I've been writing this final scene for 3 weeks. I keep saying I'm almost done, because I have been almost done for that long. It just keeps going and going and going. But
do you write sequentially? Do you always write in order?
I have to, because I have tried, just recently I was writing and I was stuck. I was just stuck there. I could not find a way to make it work. And so I was like, I'm going to come back to this. Mm-hmm. And I hopped over it, and then I went on, and there's like, oh, there it is, you know. And then I actually just kind of cut this out because it was just junk, and it just married itself right there. So it worked out. But I've tried that in the past and it did not work. You know what I'm talking about? Like, is that making sense what I'm saying? Because I've tried that in the past and it didn't work. And then I was just frustrated, even more frustrated, thinking I'll just write and then the bridge will happen naturally. And it didn't, but this time it did. And I was so grateful, because I was getting very frustrated. And then it was like stuck and stuck and stuck and just wasting time, you know, and then beating myself up. Like, I've wasted so much time. I think wasted time, like, getting cancer is wasting time, but you know, whatever. But yeah, so.
See, I get frustrated if I'm forcing myself to go sequentially, whether it's a play or books, like, because then I get very responsible, and I've spent the majority of my life being a very good girl.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And I don't want to be that way with my creativity and my writing. Yeah. And what makes me feel joy. So if I feel responsible, like I'm on scene 5, so scene 6 is next. Yeah. Maybe it's not. So I try to give myself the freedom whatever is exciting me that day, write that. It might not end up in the book, but write it. And you might learn something about the beginning that wasn't your favorite anyway. And so I do bounce around a bunch and find it helpful. But this is what I'm learning.
Do you find that you have a lot on the cutting room floor then, or?
Yeah, not a ton of like cutting, but reconfiguring. And I'll also leave holes. I'll intentionally leave holes that I know that will like reveal themselves later, and I'll figure out. I outline to a point, and then I guess you guys talk about pantsers and outlet plotters. I'm probably right in the middle.
Yeah.
So I do a little bit of both, and that's where I feel kind of like naughty and fun.
Yeah.
I need to feel that way.
Yeah.
So.
You're getting away with it. So exactly. In writing a play, is it normally something that you plot? How does it?
I think it's similar to novelists. Everyone does it a little differently. At the beginning of all this pandemic stuff, this wonderful playwright named Lauren Gunderson, she's the most produced playwright in America. When I don't even know her personally, but I feel very proud of her for that. Like I think the only one that has more plays than her being produced is Shakespeare. And so she started doing all these online lessons, and she 100% outlines. She knows the end of the play when she's starting the play, because she says she needs to know what she's driving towards. And I totally admire that. And that's happened for me, but not every play. Sometimes I get the image for the end. And with plays, you get to be so visual as well, which is exciting. You can be visual with novels too, but you know you're going to actually see it. So some plays I know the end, and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I start with the middle. Sometimes it's just a piece of dialogue and I let myself mess around.
That's so interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I just feel like for me, I have to give myself an enormous amount of freedom if I want the people that are taking in the play or whatever I'm writing to feel free when they're watching it.
Right.
For me, that's what I need to do.
And how did you get into playwriting?
Because I've been an actor since I was 15. And so I've been in a ton of plays. And I found when I got out of college, what I was mostly doing, for whatever reason, I was working on new plays. So I was in rooms with the playwright, and I was watching how they operate, how they talk to directors and how they talk to actors, and watching them fine tune their script according to what we were giving them or not giving them. And I had no idea that was like my training as a writer, because I was trying to be a good actor for them.
Right.
But that's how I come to my writing. I'm trying, whether someone's going to narrate it or perform it or just eyeball read it, I want it to feel alive, like all the characters are having fun acting their parts.
Right.
So I come to it, I think, from a performance place.
So interesting. It's so interesting. It's similar. You think, like, I was just reading and reading and reading and reading, and I thought, it's just similar, like, oh, I'm going to do that. It's like, where's the next step? It's creating what you're doing, so.
Yeah. Cool. You hang out long enough with things that you love, and you start learning about them, and you find your way to.
I thought, I want to make what it is that's giving me this feeling. I want to give people this feeling. Yeah. I want to do this, so.
Because what beats that? I mean,
that nothing really does. When you have someone talking to you with that same, passion that you have felt, it's like, I did that for someone.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
I get a kick sometimes when I realize I talk about these characters as if they're real, because they're so real to me.
They are. Yeah.
And other people, when they do it, it's such a kick. But then I realize, oh my God, I made that shit up. And then your mind is blown. You're like, the possibilities are endless of what we can all make.
Or you get in a room with other people like this, and you're just going on, and like, I could do this for hours, people. You don't understand.
Yeah, it's a great way to spend your time and your life. Yeah, it's really cool. We like what we do. Can you tell?
Yeah.
We have about 5 more minutes till 7.
All right.
And someone asked, does Erin have a webpage? Where can we find you and all of your work?
That's a nice question. Thanks. Yes, www.erinmallon.com. That's where I am. And then I'm on all
Rolls
the
off the tongue.
yeah. erinmallon.com. And I've got a couple groups on Facebook if you're on, well, I think you are on Facebook if you're watching this.
Yeah, right now.
Yeah, my readers group is called Feisty Fitsies, Erin Mallon's Feisty Fitsies. And there's a lovely guy named Ashton Aronson who has made an Erin Mallon fan page, which is very sweet. So you can check us out there.
That's cool.
I know. Sweet.
Oh my goodness. I am so glad that it was you on the other side.
Me too. Now this is just the second time you've done this. Is that true?
Yeah.
So who was last month?
Shayla Black.
Fun.
Yeah. I don't know. One day I said to Megan and Amy, I said, wouldn't it be fun to do an author chat? Because I did an author chat with Geneva Lee, but I knew she was coming. But I said, wouldn't it be fun to do an author chat like we just did with Geneva and not know who it was? Like, I don't know who it is.
Yeah.
Like, there was I'm going to date myself, in the old days, there was Whose Line Is It Anyway? Or something like that. And they wouldn't know who it was behind, and they'd have to ask questions and then figure it out. And I think that was the premise of it. But it was so like that. And then, yeah, so I said, wouldn't that be fun? Like, maybe for you guys, not for me, because it's kind of, I'm good until those like 1 minute right before, then I start going like, are you sure I'm going to know who it is? What if I don't know who it is? You know, they're like, you're going to know who it is. I'm like, okay.
I'm thinking that too. Is like, does she know what I look like? But my little name pops up, right? So there
your
you
name
go.
does come up. So that's like that final, but I would recognize, I know who you are.
Yeah, I did.
Like, I watch you and Andy do your thing on oral fixation and stuff.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so far I've had the two and I've known them, but that's my biggest fear is what if I don't know who it is?
Well, then you have to like just get context clues and hope that Megan's going to take care of you.
Or there's some authors that have really, really similar names.
True.
Really similar names, and they're just confusing. And or I know their real name and I'm going to say that and not their, pen name, or something terrible is going to happen eventually. It's going to happen, but we'll just keep playing along. But
well, so far 2 in and nothing terrible, right? You're doing okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2-0. We're good.
Well, I'm psyched you invited me. Thanks, Megan.
Thanks for coming along.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, she had said something originally when they were planning it about, well, she has a baby, and I'm like,
oh, because I warned Megan. I was like, there may be breastfeeding during this. I just hope you're okay.
I am way out of childbirthing age, and I'm like, who do I know that has a baby? Like, I don't know anybody that has a baby, maybe like grandchildren, but no one that has a baby. So it was just so funny. I'm like racking my brain thinking, what's a baby?
Who is it?
The last time I saw you, you were doing an unboxing and you still had a baby belly.
Yeah. So my book released July 15th and I had him July 31st. So
my anniversary is July 30th. Where the hell does time go? How has that happened already?
Yeah, that was 6 weeks ago.
What's his name?
His name is Jiva, Jiva.
I love that.
Which means individual soul or life force. No pressure, baby.
I love that.
Thank you.
My son's name means companion because, our daughter's severely disabled. And so we wanted to give him this name that meant, you would be her person.
So what is his name?
Caden.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And so it always, we didn't tell him what his name meant for a long time because we didn't want to give him this like complex, like, right. She's yours.
Right.
Enjoy that. But now he knows. But yeah, it's a joke, but it's not. And this poor guy.
Is he a good brother?
What?
Is he a good brother?
He is. He's a wonderful brother.
Good.
He's such a good boy. He really is. He's the apple of my eye.
Oh.
She
Is
has
this your
the
first
sweetest
boy?
son. I've been able to meet him. He's the sweetest.
Yeah, he's turned into a good young man.
Funny, here comes my 5-year-old son. I have a 5-year-old boy, a 3-year-old daughter, and a 6-week-old boy.
I love the boys. I really do. I think they're the best.
Here's my buddy Jet. It's 10 o'clock.
Hi.
In bed, boo.
Look, my cool shirt. I can
Oh.
flip it.
So
I love it. Oh, what's happening?
his grandma
You're magical.
shirt, and it's got sequins that flip. So it's like the earth at nighttime and the earth.
Oh, I need one of those.
It's super cool, right?
Where did you get that?
Who gave that to you? Gigi gave that to you.
Gigi.
Steve is your brother. Yeah, Gigi.
Gigi.
I need Gigi's contact info.
Yeah, she's really good at it. Cool. Why aren't you in bed, kiddo?
Thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you for having
I think your buzzer just got rung there, lady.
I think so. Did Daddy send you down?
No.
No.
Actually, I wanted to see you.
Oh, hi, baby.
Cutie. He misses mama.
I'll be up in a minute, okay?
I'm really fast.
Oh, he's really fast.
I
Okay,
like
we're gonna turn into the Jet show now.
Mm.
He's running now to show you how fast he is, but you can't see him. Oh,
He's so
yeah.
cute.
Oh, very fast.
I can't see him because he's so fast.
Oh, yeah, he's fast. He's upstairs now.
Oh,
Well, thank you, ladies,
Well.
so much.
Wait.
come back anytime.
Ask me math.
Oh, this is going to devolve, everyone. He wants you to ask him math questions. We should say goodbye. I'll ask you math questions.
Bye. Nice meeting you.
Want math.
Bye, ladies.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
You silly bird.